Hello, welcome back to the channel. Now in this video we're going to have a look at this kit that's been kindly sent to me by LF Models. So full disclaimer, this is sent to me for review. Now it arrived very quickly, direct from the Czech Republic, fantastic service. You can order this direct from LF Models or from Heinkel, depending on where you are, but you can also order it direct from Europe if that is convenient for you. Now what this is an extremely important aircraft in some senses for certain areas of history. Now if you really only model stuff from the Second World War and things like that, then this would pass you by, as it didn't really do a lot during the war. If you're interested, like I am, to do with anything to do with the Spanish Civil War, this is a very important aircraft. And if you like the sort of history and development of aircraft through different countries as well, then this is important, because this is the fighter aircraft that Heinkel supplied to go up against the Messerschmitt 109 when Germany was trialling and sort of putting bids out for their new fighter that they were going to go with. And we all know the history. They went with the Messerschmitt 109. This aircraft was built, a few served in Spain, a few served notably in Spain as well, much later, which this is. There was also a few, I think they were sort of used around the Heinkel factory as well during the early part of the Second World War. I might get that confused with the Heinkel 100 as well, which is another one. But anyway, that's what we're looking at here. So this is a new injection molded 1/48 scale kit of this very important aircraft for me, and I'm sure you'll be of interest. Now we are talking sort of short run technology, and when we go into that, there are some limitations and some considerations we need to take on board. It also means that there will be some things that you wouldn't expect if you were looking at even say like modern kits from say Italieri, things like that, certainly not Tamiya. It means it's the way it's produced is through limited run technology, and that means you're looking more at sort of special hobby and those type of manufacturers, and you'd be going up against that, for instance. Thankfully we've moved on somewhat, so we haven't got vac form canopy or anything like that. We have got, it is a fully plastic injection molded kit, so it's all in plastic, even the canopy. I've also been sent some extras that they're doing with the kit as well, and I've got these here which we'll also look at. So that's everything in the box. Now first off, I'd like to point out a couple of things that I noticed as soon as I took the lid off the box, and that is the surface detail. This is the first thing we all look at, and for this it is a little bit soft. So if we zoom in, you can see what we're dealing with there. It's actually looking pretty good. Now this is why you need to put a bit of primer on parts. If we look here at the rudder, you can see it sort of looks a little bit soft. You know, a little bit more sort of 2002 rather than 2022. But when we get a little bit of primer on, we can see what we're dealing with. And if we look at the actual panel lines there on the wing, they're not too bad. And that is the case when we go across the rest of it as well. As you see the panel lines there, yes, they're a little bit wide, but that's not an issue. As you can see, we're kind of on Airfix style, if you think of it like that, going across there. Now these looked a lot softer without primer, so much so that when I got the fuselage I looked at this and I thought, oh, that is a little bit soft. By that I mean it's not defined, so there's it's almost like it sort of goes, it's like the panel lines going like that rather than at a right angle. See what I mean? Right angle would make it a lot more defined. So what I thought I'd do is have a look and see what it looks like when you run through the panel lines just with a scriber. Now this is not rescribing necessarily, this is just going across the lines that are already there, following the groove, and you can see how much, this is before primer, so this is primer on top of that. So you can see how much more definition there is when you do that. Now I must admit, they look deeper. It's not a case of they are now deeper or wider, it is just that they are more defined. Well, I suppose they are probably a little bit deeper, but the depth isn't the issue. As you can see here, that's a very nice panel line, and under paint it's going to look very nice. So all I'm doing literally is putting the kit down and trying, you know, I usually getting a bit closer, but I've got the camera there. I'm just running along the existing line, and this was a job of 5 minutes, well, not even 5 minutes, and now you can see the difference between this line and that line. So that would be something you probably want to consider. And short run kits take this, so they need a little bit of work. The kind of thing we get from short run as well is we don't get locating pins or anything like that. So it means that when you get the fuselage joined together, you know, there are no locating pins. I actually prefer this. Most of the time I'm cutting off the locating pins, but of course, I guess what I'm trying to say is this isn't a kit for the beginners. I wouldn't imagine there's a lot of beginners that are after a Heinkel 112 anyway in 1/48 scale, but if you are, you need to bear these things in mind. That is what we've got. So all this kit has to be is the classic airframes kit, which isn't going to be difficult. So what we've got is, if we start more of a conventional review now, we've got decals. I'll come to them. There's a slight thing to be said on those as well. None of this is a surprise, by the way. I knew this going into it. This is the type of kit. This is what you've got to deal with if you want to model subjects that are never going to be handled by anyone mainstream. And we're living in a brilliant time modelling wise, where we're getting some amazing subjects put out in very large companies, very modern standards, very well tooled, that I never thought we'd get. But I think it must be said, I don't think anyone's ever going to do the Heinkel 112 to that level. I imagine this is going to be your kit now going forward. So what we got, it's nice and simple. There's no photo etch, no resin, nothing like that. It's just straight building up plastic. So we've got stuff on the cockpit sidewalls, we've got the oxygen hose and tank, and we've got a sort of flywheel there as well, for probably much like the 109. We've got the early style spade grip rudder as control column as well, with the seat going in. You obviously need your own belts. Then we've got the wheels being put together as well, 2 types of wheels it looks like. Tail wheel, wings coming together, guns going in, a bit of a wing spar there just to get you the right separation. Worth noting as well that the classic airframes kit doesn't actually have any wheel wells, so you need to build them up yourself. Then we've got the side panels going in around the engine. Most people, well, in fact all kits I've seen of the Heinkel 112 have got this removed, because there's 2 different types. The Romanians used these later in the war, and there was different versions as well, so you can cater for the different types of exhaust, which is basically depending on different types of engines. So that's what we've got there, so that's nothing new. So we've got panels going in. You can have the door open as well. The instrument panel's gone in here as well as part of this, along with the gun aiming sight as well, and exhausts going in from the inside. Then the wings and the tailplane assemblies going on with the horizontal stabilizers, and presumably the rudder not very much further afterwards. The iconic intake and the gear doors, as well as the landing gear. Then she's up on her legs, ailerons, flaps, and elevators and rudder all going on. You've got the 3-piece canopy, which is fantastic that you can separate that out. 2-piece propeller, open canopy, closed canopy, pitot tube, and we're into the markings. This being the Spain boxing, there's also a Luftwaffe boxing as well. So this Spain boxing has 2 from the Spanish Civil War. Then it's got this one as well, which is one that was used during the Spanish Civil War, but it was retained after the war. New camouflage, the later style of markings put on as well. And this actually is the one, I believe, that shot down a P-38 that was flying over Morocco. Spanish didn't like anyone in their airspace during the Second World War. At the beginning, they didn't like anyone unless they were, you know, maybe one side inclined, and towards the end, all of a sudden they flipped and thought, oh, I tell you what, we'll back the other guys. That's a bit of a joke, but, you know, there's a fair bit of that truth in that as well. So we've got, this is Spain, 1939 to 1944, which is this one here. But this is as it would have been during the Spanish Civil War. Then we've got Captain Miguel Garcia, so this is who shot down Polikarpov I-16, January 1939. These are nationalist schemes, obviously. And then we've got the last one, which is Isaac Aronis. So there we are. Now, the decals. This is the case for all sort of Cora or LF model decals. This is all one sheet. The good news is the white is actually printed, so before it used to be you had to paint like a circle of white. That doesn't seem to be the case here. So you've got the roundels, and then the symbols that go on the side of the fuselage and the numbers. All of this is one piece of film, so you need to cut out and around which decal you want to use. I've used them in the past, they go on very well. There is a little bit of limitation in the printing, very much like modern Eduard ones, where they look a little bit pale. You just see the red on that. It's just a bit washed out. But I'm sure they'll work perfectly good. If there's any problem, well, we'll deal with that when we do the build video on this one. Clear parts are separately bagged, and you can see there's lots of different options. So you've got the joint 2-piece canopy. It's a 3-piece canopy, a windscreen and a movable middle section. So the middle section is connected in one. Can't quite see which one it is actually. Sorry, no, it's 2 different sections. If you want it closed, you have this one, and then you put that centre section on, and then you've got the windscreen. And if you want it open, you use this slightly narrower one, which means that the centre section will fit over that. Very nicely done. Very intelligently done, actually. Crystal clear, absolutely fantastic. You've got wingtip lights in there as well. Very good. Best part of what we've got on offer here. So we've talked about the panel lines and the surface detail. You can see it's not a lot to the kit, but everything's there. I mean, it's just over 2 sprues. So you've got the one large wing section, the 2 upper sections with different sections here for the cowling, rudder, ailerons. A little bit heavy, might just want to be sanded down a touch. You've got internal surfaces of the gear doors as well, which are very nice. And you've got some wheel well detail there as well. Looks like very strong points for the landing gear, which is always nice to see. And good basic detail. Like I said, you're going to want to add some belts. I have got 3 classic airframes kits. Now, I might actually raid one of them for some parts for this, because I did get one. One was given to me, so there's not money to get back in it, if it makes sense. They are a bit pricey, those kits. And then we've got the section here where you've got the propellers. Look very nice. You've got 2-part wheels or 1-part wheels, your choice. Instrument panel, good detail there. I don't believe there's any instruments on the decals, no. These are your exhaust for one type, which you can obviously drill out, and they come in from the other side. You've got gun barrels as well, which could be drilled out. And then you've got the normal type of exhaust, which is for the Luftwaffe version. All very nice. So that's the basic kit. That is what you get in your box when you order a Heinkel 112. Then there are a couple extras that have been also produced by LF models for this kit. So starting with one specific paint scheme in this one, you've got this, which is laser cut, not laser cut, you know, cutting machine like a cricket silhouette mask sheet, and there you can see it's all nicely cut out and numbered. Don't know if I can show you with the glare. There you can see the cuts. So you just use that as a camouflage mask, which is much like what we were looking at back along with Top Notch. Very much the same. So it's not markings, it's just the camouflage, not insignia or anything like that. So that's a nice touch. If you want to do that good Spanish scheme, that is one way of getting around that very nicely. Then we've got more die cut canopy masks, which I'll obviously be using. Looks like you've got a couple sets there, from what I can see. And this is how, here's your instructions. So you've got for closed canopy, open canopy, etc, etc. Basic thing. Peel off, stick on. And then we've also got a very interesting set here, which is the 3D printed accessories from LF models. And this is specific for this version. They do one for each version, which basically has different exhaust. So this is, as you can see there, you've got hollowed out exhausts. So these come in from the outside. You've got a new tail wheel. Tail wheel. You've got, is that the oleos? It's the bit on the landing gear that does the compression. And then you've got, looks like, lights. Oh, sorry, no, brilliant. hollowed out gun barrels. There you go. That is your gun barrels hollowed out. Very good stuff. So this is obviously something that LF Models have started doing, some 3D printed accessories, which is very nice, especially to go along with their models. So we'll be incorporating them into the build as well. So that is the review for the Heinkel HE112B-0 version, which is the overspain boxing for LF Models 1/48 scale Heinkel 112. Lovely box of kit, looks much better than the classic airframes kit. We'll probably have a look at parts of that when we get onto the build video. I'll get the classic airframes kit out just so you can see how bad you are from a starting point and how much better this is, and maybe see if there's any bits in there that we can raid, like the seat or something like that. There's a good cockpit detail in those. So that's what we're looking at. Very pleased for LF Models to agree to send this over to me. I will be making this on the channel. I think post Telford at the minute. We're just on the run up to IPMS Telford. It might be a bit of a push to start this one now, but we'll certainly get on with it on my return from the show. So that is an inbox review. Hope that's of interest. Let me know your comments down below and what your views are. If you want to order it, there'll be a couple of links in the description below showing you where you can. And stay tuned for a full build coming your way. And until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.